maybe I could retire. So, welcome to the first ever horse racing convention, Equestricon. This is for racing fans, if I can make a pun, fantastic. All of the stakeholders in horse racing are here. The owners, the breeders, the jockeys, track management, media, artists, and even old washed up race callers. There are dozens and dozens of exhibits here. If you're a horse racing fan, welcome to paradise. As what happens to me several times a day, it seems, my phone needed a battery charge. So when I got here this morning, I wandered into the Woodbine Tech Corner, Tech Lounge, and that's where you can get your iPhones recharged. And I just took a look around at some of the stuff they have there. This is just one exhibit. They have this virtual jockey thing going on. They put a virtual camera on top of MJ Wilson up at Woodbine, and you get on there and you're riding along and you want to see who's over to your right, and the virtual thing takes you over to the right. You see the grandstand, who's in the infield, look over your head, under your shoulder. It is an unbelievable thing. That's just one of the exhibits there. They've got some virtual horse racing games to play. They've got this high-tech photo booth where you just go in there and you can get your picture taken, and it automatically sends it to Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and that's just one of the exhibits that we have for you today. There's a lot going on. There's going to be panels, even an old racetracker announcer's panel tomorrow, and just all sorts of stuff going on. It's going to be a fantastic 2 days here. And of course there's going to be music up here on the stage, and there's going to be bars open at 11 a.m. this morning, so you're welcome to that. I know I will be welcome to it a little bit later on. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to bring the co-founder, Dan Tordjman of Equestricon, to welcome you formally.
Thank you all so much for being here. For those of you who know me, you know that I am very underdressed. This is not usually what I wear out in public. No fedora, no bow tie, but this is a special occasion, so a t-shirt and a blazer, I guess, will do. Just first of all, I want to thank all of you for showing up here today. This is a very important event, I think, and we all think, in the history of racing. We feel like we can move the needle a little bit here, bring the fans into the fold, give everyone a stake in this sport, and we're going to need to do that if we're going to be successful for years to come. So I'm not going to drone on. I just want to thank my partners, co-founders, Justin Nicholson and Catherine Sharp. I want to thank all the staff and volunteers who put in just crazy hours the last few months to get this thing to where it is today. Our team at Total Events has been absolutely phenomenal. CMI and just everyone who put this event on. We are so pumped for the next few days. We hope you're signed up for the panels. Get involved. Go to a discussion that you're not familiar with. If you don't know anything about media and marketing and racing, sit in on that panel. If you want to learn about Aftercare, which you should, sit in on one of the Aftercare panels. So, with that, there are a few other people to speak, and I know you're all looking forward to hearing Soledad O'Brien. I just want you all to have a great time here, and of course I do want to give a thanks, and Tom will do many thanks to our sponsors throughout the event, but chief among them, the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance, which is at the core of what this keynote is about this morning, so please give it up for the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance. So I think with that, I'm going to hand it back to Tom. Again, thank you all for being here. It means a lot to us. And just keep tweeting using EQCon17 to let everybody know that this is going on. Take it easy.
Dan, if I could Twitter, I would tweet, but I can't. But I'll just talk the old-fashioned way. I want to introduce now a great friend of horse racing. She is the best friend we have in town. She is the mayor of our town, Saratoga Springs, Joanne Yepsen.
Good morning, everyone. Actually, I think Tom Durkin is the official mayor of horse racing, so let's give it up for Tom. It's always a pleasure to be on the podium with this guy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for Equestricon, for putting your faith into Saratoga Springs. We do all believe here that good things, all good things, start in Saratoga Springs. We love our horses. We love the people who love the horses. And I want to thank all the Aftercare coalitions for all the work that they do to keep our industry strong right straight through the horse's entire life. This convention in Saratoga Springs is the first of its kind, and we couldn't be more thrilled that it's right here in our great city. We also know that it brings together all sorts of people. And thank you for the arts, for the farms, for the breeders, for the handicappers. There's nothing like the horse racing industry to bring us all together. Have a great couple of days. Enjoy Saratoga Springs, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Our keynote speaker today, you know Soledad O'Brien from NBC and CNN. She's been a journalist and a TV news anchor. Thankfully, today she's not going to deliver the news because these days it's just all bad. But she is going to deliver the good news about Thoroughbred Aftercare. She is, in addition to her work, a mother of 4. And she has, as if that weren't enough, adopted 2 more, Joey and Desi, thoroughbreds. To give you some good news, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage here at Equestricon, Soledad O'Brien.
Inaugural Equestricon. This is amazing. How great to see a full room to talk about horse racing and all the things around horse racing. I'm really honored to have the opportunity to speak with you very briefly this morning about Aftercare, and then in a little bit we'll have my panel with truly the experts talking about Thoroughbred Aftercare. And when I was asked a few months ago to talk, I said, you know, listen, you're going to be hearing from the best people in the business. I'm a mom who was looking for a horse for her kids. Like, what expertise do I really have? I love horses, and over the years, I just kind of had a chance to provide a new home and a new career for a few horses that were no longer on the racetrack. I started riding, and I should say I'm a very mediocre rider, but I started riding when I was about 10 years old at the DeLayer farm in Long Island, New York. The DeLayers lived just down the road from me, and their strategy for teaching you how to canter in your first lesson at age 10 was just to put you on a horse and tell everybody canter. And about 10 people in the ring would just ride around the ring at a full-on canter. You might know the story, maybe some in this room don't, of Harry DeLayer. Literally, his story of his horse Snowman is the story of Aftercare, an immigrant from Belgium. He was trying to make his name as a show jumper and a trainer. Harry DeLayer got a workhorse, and he later named it Snowman, and discovered that Snowman, in fact, was a great jumper. And not just a great jumper, but literally among the greatest jumpers that existed. Between 1958 and 1968, Snowman would take top honors at Madison Square Garden year after year after year. The horse found not only a new career, but also created the career and the reputation of Harry DeLayer. Snowman had books written about him. Snowman had multiple magazine profiles. Mr. DeLayer was a well-known face on late-night television. And tourists used to come to my little town of St. James, Long Island, in buses to come and see Snowman, who was kept in a paddock in front of the barn until his death about 38 years or so after he was born. He lived sort of happily after his retirement from his second career. I became involved in aftercare because I live near Aikendale Thoroughbred Rescue, and I knew that even before I ever stepped a foot on their property, which is a racing facility, as you might know, and also an aftercare facility, when I was thinking seriously about getting my own horse some 30 years after I started my lessons, it was suggested that I take a look at retired racehorses. And I thought that might be the most insane suggestion ever. I want to reiterate, I'm a mediocre to like okay-ish mom rider. Like, who would tell me to go look at a thoroughbred racehorse? Are you out of your mind? I had 2 young children, 4 children, but 2 of them, my daughters, were riders, and they actually were pretty decent riders. And I thought I knew thoroughbreds. I knew them to be hot, maybe a little crazy. I think every single thing that would make a racehorse great would be every single thing that you would never want in a horse that you're going to put your 9-year-old daughter on. And I thought this is the craziest suggestion. But we went in to see if we could find a horse that would be a good fit. What I needed was chill in a horse and patient. Those sound like terrible things in a racehorse. I needed sort of a loving and sweet disposition. And I thought none of those qualities would ever exist at Aikendale Thoroughbred Rescue. And I was completely and absolutely and utterly wrong. Until I went to Aikendale, where they do a really amazing job of connecting thoroughbreds to new homes, where I discovered that actually it was about being connected to a horse that was the right horse for you and your family. And that all those stereotypes that I had were really just stereotypes. Sure, there were some horses that I probably shouldn't get on, but there were lots, and I mean a lot of options for someone, again, mediocre rider with small children who we could ride easily. I was able to test out a bunch of horses. We were able to talk a lot about a plan and a strategy, what kind of home I would give that horse. Was I in it for the long haul? My first rescue was a horse named Sedona, and then Joey followed pretty closely after that. Joey, we used to call it a honey because a really small little horse that my daughters could ride. And then we recently took in our 3rd thoroughbred, Desi. Now, as I'm sure many of you have heard this joke, a friend told me when I started looking at horses to buy, he said, you know, if you want to have $1 million, start with 10 million and buy a horse. And that has proven to be really true. But whether you buy a really, really expensive jumper or you spend some money on a retired racehorse and a rescue, listen, everybody knows that a horse is not inexpensive. They cost money to maintain. It's actually never the money of the horse, it's the money of maintaining it. But I often now encourage people to think about thoroughbred rescue if they're thinking about a horse already for a couple of reasons. And the first is, I think, responsibility. I think anybody who loves horses has a responsibility to think seriously if they can provide a new home and, more importantly, a new career, a new opportunity for a horse. That transition isn't always easy. We're going to talk a little bit about that in my panel in just a little bit. The effort and expense that can go into retraining a racehorse to figure out the steps to the jump, to put the correct lead out, to not sprint in every canter like a racehorse would do, in the show ring certainly with a small child on your back. But we found, and we're not a racing family, and I don't own a barn, I'm just a mom with a couple of kids who love to ride. We found that the expense and the joy was really, really worth it. For me, it's been an amazing project with 2 girls who've now grown from little girls to bigger girls, who've learned patience and the value in working with an animal to get it not only to where it needs to be, where he needs to be, but also where you need to be as a rider. My daughters now are excellent riders, and they're fearless jumpers who gain confidence and had a lot of fun while giving a new job to both Sedona and to Joey and to Desi. And then secondly, I think this theory applies not just to horses, but to people. This is my 30th year as a television news journalist, and I travel literally around the globe. I just flew in at 4 o'clock this morning from the West Coast. In a few hours, I'll hop back on a plane and go back out to the West Coast where I'm shooting a series. And so I spent a lot of time on airplanes and reporting around the country and around the globe. And what you discover is whether you're doing stories of amazing, incredible people who've had great opportunities and experiences, or you're covering someone in the middle of a tragedy or desperate poverty, that people are very similar no matter where they are, right? They all want the same things. And what you discover pretty quickly is that everybody wants a purpose. Everybody wants a purpose. They want something to do that is meaningful. Yesterday, I was on the West Coast interviewing some drug dealers, and tomorrow I will be interviewing some music executives, and they all talk about wanting to do something that makes them meaningful. For some people it's in crime, for some people it's in their industry, but they want to feel like they contribute in some way, in a way that makes them feel powerful and valued and viable and meaningful. And I think it's a weird analogy, but stay with me. It's a similar thing for horses want to work. The horses that I have, whether it's my 3 rescues or my other horses, which include a Canadian warm blood, a Dutch warm blood, 2 Oldenburgs, quarter horse, and some other things in there that I should admit to. They want to work. They want to work. They want to come off the track, or they want to come wherever they come from, and they want to have jobs and purpose. They want to be worked out. They want to run. They want to be trained. They love it. They love it. Earlier I was asked, did any of my horses look at me gratefully and understand? Actually, as Harry the Layer described in Snowman, Snowman, and he had this connection. Snowman always had this grateful book about, this new career, Harry. And my horses never do that. My children never do that, actually. They like to work. They want to feel like they are contributing in some way. And I think the same thing is true between horses and people. And so, for me, at the end of the day, it's been a wonderful opportunity. I am an average rider. I am fairly confident I will remain an average rider through my entire life. But part of the joy of being an average rider, or any rider at all, is that while your horse is working on their new skills and new career, you're working on your skills and your riding career as well. So I hope that I'll be able to encourage all of you to think about the next careers. This is a conversation today, a convention that really looks at racing, but I'm going to push everybody to think about aftercare. What happens at the end? And how do we start planning now for where those horses go when their careers are over? What should we be thinking about at the front end so that the back end is really, really successful? Whether you're rescuing a thoroughbred from a bad situation, or a thoroughbred that's had an amazing winning career and going off to wonderful retirement, I think that you'll think of their jobs, what they should be doing in the future, as you think about aftercare. My panel in really just about half an hour is going to include some of the most incredible success stories and some of the biggest names in racing. I'm so excited to be able to bring their stories to you, so I hope that you'll join me. We're going to be in the other room down the hall, but I hope you'll have a chance to join us for this really important conversation about something that I think is a real testament to Equestricon, to be bringing this conversation to the very first convention that they're hosting. Thank you so much, and I really hope that you enjoy the day.